Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Bytes Podcast. This is episode number 142 of the show. I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Acosta.
And every single week in the podcast, we're bringing you the round of the week's best Geek and Tech news. We'll discuss that news and, of course, anything else we happen to be interested in that weekend. This week, before we begin, we're going to give a quick shout out to an amazing member of the audience who is generous enough to make a very generous donation to the podcast to help support the cost of doing this whole thing on a weekly basis. Just want to thank them personally, but they did ask to remain anonymous. It's a general thank you. The one thing that they did ask was that I wear a silly holiday hat for the rest of the month. So that's what this is. So I will be wearing this for the rest of the month. It actually lights up and everything, folks. For the folks who are seizure prone, look away now. So it lights up and
bright. The lights were dark.
Yeah, you can't quite see it in this particular light, but it is technically blinking. So we don't want to induce seizures. So there you go, folks. But thank you for that generous supporter.
Thank you.
And of course, for all the other people who do support the podcast on a weekly and monthly basis, thank you again for your support as well. So, but in Geek News, we begin with some great topics.
Yeah, in Geek News, that's what we'll talk about, of course, the great dream that I've had that I was hoping for the future of Disney and Fox deal. Rey's Jedi training, a Tarantino Star Trek, Dark Phoenix details, superhero casting, the movie trailer showdown, and much, much more.
Yeah, there's some great, very interesting stuff potentially happening in the Geek News. So we're thankful to see some of it, and we're hoping other things come through as well. But of course, we begin our show though with Geek News. So we'll hit the music for that one. And our first story, Geek News. It's basically a quick update to a previously heard story that Fox and Disney are actually still in talks to continue their, well, I believe it's just going to be a purchase of the Fox licenses for all their superhero stuff. But hey, I'm so excited because that means like the XMen and all those Marvel characters can potentially be in the same universe as the Avengers. So there are a bunch of nerds happening everywhere. And according to rumors and people in the know, their deals are going to the fine print, which with money people. So that means it's quite likely that it is going to continue, but we never really know. Maybe they'll make it a nice Christmas present for the world.
Well, a little bit of the rumor on that it was thinking of dollar-wise, it was talks amongst being a $60 billion deal to get all the licensings back. And especially with the Infinity War happening pretty soon, that it possibly, depending on how this works, Phase 4 might involve the Fantastic Four.
That is entirely
in the Marvel
possible.
Cinematic Universe.
So Fantastic Four, X-Men all showing up for Infinity Wars. That would be quite the coup for everybody. I'm sure most of the geeks would be happy to delay that movie a little bit, just if you could see those other characters in there.
Mm-hmm. Because the rumor is also for if they go Phase 5, that's when they would introduce the X-Men. But of course, especially with everybody's kind of hitting up in their ages by that time,
recast. That's why they have those younger X-Men in there now. That's why they did the entire reboot, which is another part of the news story we're talking about a little bit. But so many potential interesting crossovers that are going to make nerdgasms across the nation.
The only bad parts is with certain rated R comic book movies, such as Deadpool. They might have to adapt that in a kind of way.
No, I mean, if he's going to do a crossover, sure. But cursing is still allowed in PG-13 movies. So, the cursing part aside, there's just no cutting off of limbs and, penis jokes and sex jokes.
To a point on PG-13, because if I'm right, PG-13 movies, you're allowed to say the F word just once, but it's all a matter of the content.
He's the one. See, Deadpool gets the one F word. Mm-hmm. There you go. See, okay. In other news, we have some Star Wars is coming up in a little less than a week. So they've been releasing some great information.
Okay, so we got less than 2 weeks until Star Wars The Last Jedi hits theaters. While we're sure there are more footage from the movies coming in various TV spots and other marketing before the film arrives later this month, the marketing department at Lucasfilm figured out another way to keep the hype going on strong for the movie without really spoiling anything. A brand new Star Wars The Last Jedi training featurette has been released online, and it focuses on the actors from the sequel preparing for their action sequences. On a particular interests are that the sequences involving Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver training for battle. We see two sides of the light and dark wielding their weapons behind the scenes on the set, preparing for what will likely be another intense battle between good and evil.
Yeah, it's a nice little basically battle scene, and you get to see train they're training pretty hard. Like, oh, Daisy Ridley, I think she made a comment like shortly after this came out that she's like, I'm not sure if I want to be a Jedi anymore. This is a lot of hard training.
Hey, if you want to know those skills, if you want those awesome spots, unless nowadays they want the actress to be in the spot, unless it's a dangerous moment. Yes, you'll get that body double, stunt double kind of thing. But Tom Holland, he's actually a gymnast. He actually flips. He actually does all that crazy intense moves.
Yeah, but she's like, this is the most challenging thing I've ever done physically. Like you can even see me straight in like the little feature. I'm like, yeah. But she immediately took it back. People took it as like, oh, she doesn't want to be in these Star Wars movies anymore. And she's like, oh no, I like this Star Wars thing. It's been good for us.
Thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want that Star Wars money, that's one thing. And also, honestly, you're gonna pretty much get a lifetime recognition for the longest time. Especially that's this franchise. That's
like, oh, that's like instantaneous. Like, oh, you can do whatever you want now kind of money. You know what I mean? Like, John Boyega, he's spun this off into like multiple movie opportunities and acting things, even stuff like he probably shouldn't have. But it's the same thing for her. Like she absolutely spins it off in other things. She was in the Orient Express movie. I'm like, and part of that was probably like, oh, she has face recognition now, and that's what this thing is for actors and actresses. So like, why give it up? Although I think for this one, for Gwendolyn, whatever her name is, it's probably the Game of Thrones thing's got her into here, but still, it's okay. I'm sure she's still going to be cool otherwise. So yeah, good little featurette, very interesting. Go check it out. Okay,
did you, real quick, did you ever catch our can't really say the town that we're from, but our little Star Wars connection?
No, I don't know what you mean.
They've actually filmed I think it was a Nissan commercial, just sort of down the street, if you will, from our area, which it looked like the whole terrain of Jakku. Which with the whole... I
thought it was like, they went in the desert and that's where they actually filmed like the desert techniques. I'm like, no, I thought that was like in the Sahara or something.
Nope, that was a little down the street. Well, so maybe. It was with the whole...
like for the commercial, you mean, yeah.
Yeah, okay. The whole ads and everything. The only bad part about it, they did have two lookalikes, but I guess that was part of the semi-joke of the commercial of a guy that looked like Luke and a guy that looked like, was her name Rey?
Ray?
Yeah, okay. And that was the whole concept of it, like one training the other, but through a car commercial.
Okay, well, that just seems exploitive at this point.
Yeah, but it was just funny because you saw the background and having the CG ads. I was like, oh my God. I wish
train them on those.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was insane.
Why use your little car commercial?
For a little car commercial.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Nice little tidbit. This is like something we should like record for like a Star Wars, like behind the scenes commentary track almost.
Oh, but like, especially with all that stuff.
I think we owe a couple people commentary tracks actually, like for the Patreon. Hey, I keep forgetting to like record those.
I'll make it fun for you.
But in other Star related news, we have Star Trek. There's actually rumors going around that Quentin Tarantino is in talks with J.J. Abrams and Paramount Studios to make a new Star Trek movie, but he wants it to be rated R. That's the only concession he wants because he only makes rated R movies apparently. Yeah, that apparently. I mean, can you think of any?
No, I'm not against it.
Any Quentin Tarantino that's not rated R. I mean, that's a pretty like he wants the freedom to kind of basically do whatever he wants to do.
I'm confusing him with Robert Rodriguez. So
no, yeah, different.
They're friends and they do some stuff together.
Yeah, different. So, would you be interested in watching like a rated R Star Trek movie? Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I want to see the difference between
see Uhura and like Spock have sex or something. Yeah, that would be it.
Well, alien sex is always awesome, but obviously because. That's kind of the little leeway they get away with certain rated R movies is like you could actually dismember and show bleeding or whatever just as long as it's not red.
Oh, Alien and Blue Bloods.
Exactly, because especially like zombie flicks, you can shoot up a zombie and everything as long as it doesn't shoot. Yeah, as long as it doesn't show red blood, you're okay.
So there you go. So looks like we're both on board with this. So you have our blessing, Quentin Tarantino, to make your Star Trek movie.
Love to see Captain Kirk in a gimp suit.
Which I'm sure you're looking for. No, well, actually, Captain Picard said he'd come back for the role.
Mm-hmm. In a gimp suit?
No, he said he'd come back in an actual for them because he said he's retired from Star Trek. Mm-hmm. And he would be the same. Like, oh yeah, I would totally come back to do a movie with Quentin Tarantino as Captain Picard again, even though he's like in his 80s. At this point, it's like, oh, yeah, good for him. Okay, but still, good to see. Maybe actually get to see another Picard movie. I'd go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, in other entertainment news, we have possibly a new Batman.
Yeah. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who has already played Bruce Wayne's father, has hinted recently that he has an eye on a special role in the Batman movies. With rumors about Ben Affleck wanting to leave the role, speculated that Morgan may be eyeing that maybe eyeing the role.
Sorry, that's my writing, guys.
While other sources look at the upcoming Flash movie and point out that Batman in Flashpoint is actually Thomas Wayne, not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, so there are a couple aspects to this. That Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Negan on The Walking Dead, and a bunch of other stuff. Like, he's a relatively well-known actor. He's been hinting at cons and online that he has his eye on a particular DC role. And so people are putting together saying, oh, Ben Affleck is possibly leaving after Flashpoint, and this guy is also interested in it, so maybe that's what he's going for. Maybe they offered it to him. And other people are pointing out that, oh, no, he's Thomas Wayne already. So if there's a Flashpoint movie, and in that particular story arc, spoilers, folks, Bruce Wayne dies. When Flash adjusts the timeline when he saves his mom, one of the effects is that Bruce Wayne dies and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman. He becomes a hard-edged Batman with guns, and Bruce Wayne's mom becomes the Joker. And so that might be part of the storyline for Flashpoint, which would be really cool.
Yeah, I would totally check that out. I hope they do a little nod though to Walking Dead, and especially say he's fighting off some street thugs and whatever. He picks up a barbed wire bat and just kind of like smirks.
That would be a thing that they could do. I don't know if The Walking Dead would have an issue with that, but that would be a nice nod. But still, a much darker, even darker than regular The Dark Knight. Thomas Wayne is definitely a guy who's going to shoot a guy as Batman.
Yeah, Batman with guns.
Yeah, that was always a weird concept to me. Like, oh yeah, but it's alternate universe Batman, so I guess it's cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, next story, we have Tom Hardy saying that Venom movie that he's in is based on the Lethal Protector storyline, confirming that the movie is going to take place in San Francisco. The Lethal Protector storyline has Venom fighting crime in San Francisco and eventually fighting against 5 artificially created symbionts. So that would be interesting because you wouldn't just get one symbiont, you would get 6 total. Mm-hmm. So interesting.
Yeah, I had a comic book series. It was weird to take because that was the first time Venom becoming the anti-hero. Mm-hmm. So it was of course, he's still going to have connections depending on how they're going to do it. Spider-Man hopefully will be in it. I just don't know which Spider-Man or whose Spider-Man's going to be in it. And of course, he got those. I think it was part of the Separation Anxiety series. So I'd love to see Toxin. Toxin is actually one of the 5 that's very popular. Scream. I forgot what's the name of the other ones, but I would love to see that take because that also shows that how the Venom symbiotes have evolved and multiplied. Other than, of course, the most famous one,
the Carnage.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that one, the bad kid, potentially. So interesting news. Also in entertainment news, we have
Jessica Jones. Season 2 has an official release date for March 8th, 2018. It's revealed along with a short teaser trailer of the character walking around a lot.
Yep, so there you go. So they basically is just honestly the teaser is not that good. It really is just her walking around New York, maybe punching some dudes, using some super strength. But the big news, of course, that it's going to be out on Netflix on March 8th. So not that long from now. So good stuff there. Also in superhero news, lots of superhero stuff this episode. We got our first look at the Dark Phoenix. Sophie Turner's version of Jean Grey and the X-Men Dark Phoenix. There's this whole huge spread on the Entertainment Weekly with a bunch of like photos from the movie. Like they're really doing the full press court on this particular franchise movie, basically. The photos include Jessica Chastain as the villain, the Shi'ar Empress Leandra Nerami. Her character is described as an otherworldly shapeshifter who manipulates Phoenix for her own agenda. She's also quite brutal. So you can see the picture of her right there. She basically just looks like herself. So light on the special effects, I guess, at some point. Then there's also a brief synopsis of the movie and some additional stuff in there. I'll read it off to you. It says, set in 1992, about 10 years after the events of the last X-Men Apocalypse movie, Dark Phoenix opens with the X-Men, including Mystique, Beast, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Quicksilver, in a new unexpected role, National Heroes. Charles Xavier even lands on the cover of Time magazine, but his growing ego puts the team at risk. After they're dispatched to space for a rescue mission, a solar flare hits the X-Jet, and the surge of energy ignites a power-hungry new force within Jean, the Phoenix. Jean absorbs those solar flares and then hurls them back into outer space. That's what triggers, awakens, and creates the Phoenix Force and voice inside of her. What appears to be to the world another heroic victory by the X-Men in saving stranded people in space, we realize, and this is their word, that's how they phrase it, we realize is the thing that begins the unraveling of Jean and the unraveling of secrets Charles told her. It was also announced this week that one of the locations in the movie is going to be on Genosha. So she's going to go look to Magneto for help with her out-of-control Firebird powers. So apparently the Dark Phoenix is not going to be a space alien. It'll just be a force inside of Jean already.
Entity kind of deal.
Yeah, apparently it's already inside of Jean. It's basically the same thing they did with the XMen 3. They're going to go that same kind of thing.
The little secluded personality that, eventually cracks open and is let out.
And destroys Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
Although they are, again, saying that one of these X-Men is not going to survive the Dark Phoenix. So.
Yeah. I can't wait to take it. They got some time, remember, before that merger goes down, if it makes official. Heaven forbid, if the deal goes down between Fox and Disney, they're going to have to rush this thing out.
I don't think they're going to have to rush it out. I think, because they can just put a start date on what films are included in this particular product. So they can say, oh, no, this film is separate from that because it's already in production. And, they can always do that too.
Or it could be the last X-Men movie that's, semi-Fox related before it becomes a rebooted version.
At that point, they can either change the actors or they can include them in. It's just a matter of negotiating terms and deals and money, and which is what it always comes down to. But yeah, so you might see these same characters in an Avengers movie at some point, or an Avengers X-Men crossover, or Versus. That'd be even better.
Well, that's the whole concept that we're talking about, especially if they go Phase 5, the microwave version of the Secret Wars, if not. Almost like what Civil War would have been if the X-Men were already in there.
You would have a much broader cast of people, and then maybe Captain America would have died.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the X-Men stuff. More X-Men news, of course.
All right. In 2018, Marvel is launching a Wolverine podcast called Wolverine: The Long Night, which stars the Hobbit's Richard Armitage
Yep.
as the voice of Logan, and this might be the start of a whole new community known as the MPU, the Marvel Podcast Universe. Read all about the news show below. Mashable has the report of Marvel's new podcast, which will be a 10 episodes serialized narrative set to debut on Stitcher Premium coming next spring. It will eventually roll out on the other podcast platforms next fall. Writer Ben Percy describes it as a radio play and says the show will be a mix of mysterious aspects of the true crime podcast and a narrative tricks of a true detective plus a dash of Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. Yeah,
so basically they're trying to promote Citrus Premium Service by giving them an exclusive, Marvel Wolverine detective murder mystery story. Wolverine's probably the least interesting aspect of that entire franchise, of that entire thing. He just happens to be a famous name. They could have just easily said The Punisher or, a naked Natalie something, who knows. And that would have been just as, promotional wise. So I don't have too much interest in this because it's really hard to show off mutant powers in a radio play.
Oh, true. If it's anything like the old vaudeville radio hour, like the mystery detectives, who else lurks in the shadow but what was it?
Wolverine Shink.
Exactly, but they had some other ones with
there's plenty. Yeah,
the most recent one that I really loved is when they got voice actors, well-known voice actors for knowing cartoon voices. They actually did a unofficial episode of Futurama on the Nerdist.
Yeah. The Nerdist has done a lot of interesting voice actor things lately. They have a whole voice actor hour, kind of power hour.
So I would love to hear your favorite characters, even merged together. Can you imagine having Kevin Conroy and then
Wolverine? They have to be unofficial. This is the official version though, so they respect licensing since they're trying to make money off of it.
But especially if you could find the old even the '90s cast of the X-Men team voiceover actors to do
that could probably work. Yeah,
do the equivalent of the Comic-Con on Babylon kind of deal.
Oh, yeah, where they read the comic.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think this would be a different production. This is supposed to be an original storyline, and it's really supposed to be... They're trying to play off, popular detective stories that are online and pull those into like a story for Wolverine.
Yeah.
Who's like well known for his detective skills. Yeah, that's what it is.
I just smell things.
He smells things. He tracked them down pretty quickly.
Exactly.
There you go. End of show. 2 episodes.
Exactly.
What do we fill the next date with? I don't know.
It was you.
Mutant hate propaganda. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting. Like, okay, another direction. Good for you guys. Okay. Another entertainment news. We have Kevin Feige has confirmed that Loki will be an ally of Thanos in the upcoming Avengers Infinity War movie. So Loki is going to go back to being a bad guy. We know from the Ragnarok that he has been for the last few movies actually a good guy.
He's always been an opportunist, though. That's the whole thing about the trickster. He'll line with whoever as long as it benefits him.
Yeah, we know he got the Tesseract cube at the end of Thor Ragnarok, so you know, I guess that's where that's going to go. He's going to join up with the guy that captures them. So yeah, you can totally see that happening at the end of Thor Ragnarok. Spoilers, folks. They get captured by this gigantic ship, and it's hypothesized from people who are even moderately intelligent that it's Thanos' ship. He's supposed to grab the team and then head on his way to Earth to grab the other things, and Loki presents him with the cube as like an opportunity to align himself with a powerful force. So it makes sense for the character.
Oh yeah, like I said, total opportunist. It's always been his character. Yep. So we'll see. Eventually, once he realizes his life is in danger, I mean, with this guy, then he'll be like, maybe I don't want to hang out with Thanos anymore.
Or we could stay on that side. We never know. Exactly. That's kind of the character, so we all get it. It's okay. But it's interesting to see where he's going to start at least. Another interview, we also have Gwen Stacy is apparently being cast for Spider-Man Homecoming. They are twisting the storyline a little bit in that she's going to be a European foreign exchange student, though. So maybe Swedish? What do you think?
Swedish?
Maybe, or English? What accent would you like to see Gwen Stacy work?
Scottish.
Yeah,
just a blonde Scottish. Just as I hear, they did all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Parker.
Hi, Parker. My name's Gwen Stacy.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, I love that.
We're looking forward to a Scottish Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
There you go. Next bit of entertainment news with regards Robin.
Yeah. Brenton Thwaites. How would you pronounce it?
Nope, that's cool. Thwaites.
Okay. Is the boy wonder. Warner Brothers have released the first image of the Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales star as Robin, aka Dick Grayson, from the upcoming DC superhero series Titans. In the moody image, Thwaites, who is half shrouded in shadows, stands against a cloudy backdrop in a suit designed by Laura Jean Shannon, who created Black Lightning and Iron Man, holding the character's preferred weapon, a staff.
Yeah, so basically we just get our first look there. The WB action television show will be on 2018. And it's also going to be a direct-to-digital consumer, so you can purchase online. But basically, this is just Robin got cast. For the Teen Titans, isn't he a little too old?
Well, depending on how young of a teen you want him to be, because I wasn't sure what route they were going to go with.
That guy looks like a grown-up, right? I'm like, Teen Titans in the name implies being a teenager.
Yeah, he has boyish qualities, but obviously he's not a youngin. He's not also one of those like old boy members that they force him to shave to look young.
Yeah, it honestly looks like they're going for high school teen drama kind of stuff going on, which would absolutely match their other properties in the same kind of segment where there's going to be what's it called, the Runaways or the Archie comic one. Oh yeah, that same thing, the Riverdale. So that kind of older looking teen kind of character, I guess. But the Teen Titans to me is like, oh, Robin's supposed to be one of the younger characters, like he's supposed to be 13, 14, and that's part of his boyish charm, and he's still leader for the group, even if the other members are older, like Cyborg, who's supposed to be like, to me, the oldest character. You know what I mean? Like he's in high school. Like, I'm just saying, it seems like a very interesting choice. He looks like he's a 30-year-old man in tights, which means like, oh, he should be Nightwing now and not Robin anymore. Like, and they very specifically says, oh, it's the Dick Grayson version of it, which was like, yeah. Once he leaves Batman, he should be going into the Nightwing phase.
Well, especially if he's going to be that age, then hopefully they work the Damien character in. Then of course they had to force him to become Nightwing. Then
Maybe that's a season twist later. Like, oh, there's a new Robin, so you get to become Nightwing. And
or
he
they
leaves.
do the Jason Todd stuff and, throw all the other Robins in there.
That'd be great. Like, oh, folks, you can now vote online to see if this character dies or not. That would be fun. But it's not the Teen Titan character thing.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, that's a choice, folks. We'll see how that works. We'll judge your actual final product. But this is like, oh, the picture they gave us is like, I like the outfit. It's cool. It is. Armor's nice. Very much of the comic books. It's like this. He just seems like too old for that particular character. You know what I mean?
Well, I like the costume. Plus, it wasn't exactly. It doesn't look like the Batman versus Superman Batcave costume of the Robin.
No, this is definitely pulled straight from comics. Yeah. And like the armor chest, and
yeah.
Okay. Just thoughts. In other casting news, we have Pikachu.
Yeah, Legendary Entertainment announced that the Hollywood Reporter that Reynolds has been cast as the detective Pikachu in its upcoming live-action film about the talking electric Pokemon who happens also to solve mysteries. Reynolds joins Justice Smith and Catherine Newton, whose characters will aid Pikachu as he investigates the kidnapping of Smith's character's father.
Yep. So there you go. So Pikachu is going to be Robin Reynolds. I think that's really hilarious because it's supposed to be live action. But obviously, Pikachu's not going to be live action.
Yeah.
So Ryan Reynolds' character is just going to say Pikachu the whole time. I mean,
I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like an April Fool's thing. Like, haha, Ryan Reynolds wouldn't do that. Or
no, Danny DeVito was supposed to be up for the character role, although they have changed the continuity.
Danny
recently.
DeVito as Pikachu?
Yeah, I mean, it just says Pikachu. I mean, who cares? I mean, like, he's as short as the character.
Just stick with that one little
but
Asian girl.
They also he's supposed to be live action. Like, I don't know. Maybe they're going to make Pikachu a real person. I don't know. Maybe he comes through the portal of a television and becomes a person. I don't know. They haven't said anything else about the script, so I can't really say anything about it.
Let's see how this is going to turn out because it actually is based off a game though. The
Detective Pikachu,
yeah, game series that was.
Although I was going to say in the continuity of the latest movie, Pikachu starts to talk. Remember?
Yeah,
at the end, he actually was like, "Oh no, Ash, don't leave me."
Yeah, like I always loved you.
The reason I stay out of the ball so much is because I want to be with you all the time.
And
don't put me in your balls.
Like, what the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got annoyed.
Very
okay. Now speaking of things to get annoyed about, it was last week I think it was right that Ralph Garman was fired from K-Rock, and this is personal for us because we're huge fans of Hollywood Babylon. We went to see them live before with Kevin Smith, and so there was this huge rant on the internet that Kevin Smith did. Ralph Garman was fired from his job at K-Rock. He's been working for almost 20 years, something like 18 or something. And it wasn't the firing that got Kevin Smith annoyed. It was the fact that K-Rock legally stopped Ralph Garman from really saying why he was getting fired. And later on, as the week progressed, of course, Ralph Garman, no longer being employed with them, did tell the story on like Hollywood Babylon episodes. So go check them out. We'll have a link in the show notes for you to go listen to their show if you want to. But Kevin Smith basically said it's because K-Rock got bought out by a different company, and they're trying to cut corners and cut costs. And one of the costs apparently is Ralph Garman, and he never really got to say on air to all the fans as K-Rock to say goodbye. And that was just kind of a crappy thing that they did.
Well, he actually got to take an advantage on it, and I actually randomly was actually listening to K-Rock and actually heard what happened.
Yeah.
Heard his last broadcast, if you will.
And he got all cry.
Oh yeah, he got emotional. It was real. It was real. I was
they showed they played the thing or parts of it during Good Morning America the next day.
I thought it was a joke or something. I'm like, where is he going with this? But there was a lot of speculation because obviously he wasn't legally able to speak of what happened. So especially with the trend that's happening in Hollywood, they thought he was being like everyone else in Hollywood and being dirty and had some kind of sexual allegations with somebody.
Apparently people were already speculating on the internet, writing, "Oh, did Ralph Garman get caught in a sex scandal like everybody else? Was he sexually harassing somebody?" We know he makes shows like that.
Yeah, and especially
later on, apparently he had to say, "No, ladies and gentlemen, I can't say why I'm going, but it is not because of sex scandals."
But pretty much K-Rock did do him dirty.
Yeah.
According real quick, his contract was up with K-Rock, and it was about a week or so after they really haven't established any negotiations for a new contract. So they pretty much they're on the spot. They tell him, "Well, this is going to be your last show."
Yeah, they apparently were telling him previously. This is the dirty part in that they kept assuring him that he was going to be renewed for his contract because it's supposed to be like I think it's a 5-year contract. Each section, each contract has to get renewed every 5 years. And his contract's come up, like Edgar said. But the manager just kept telling him, "Oh no, we plan to renew your contract. We're just waiting for this deal to go through, so we know how much to offer you. You might have to take a pay cut, but we're totally going to rehire you again. Don't worry about it." And it kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer until that last week, and then they're like, "Never mind." And that's kind of what happened. And so he had to go that last week of work just knowing that he was going to get fired, and he wasn't really able to tell anybody why.
Yeah, he pretty much got a screw job. So,
yeah, which just sucks. I mean, it sucks in that he lost his regular income, but at the same point, he probably going to make more money, working with Kevin and doing live shows.
We'll see. Maybe now, finally, he'll be able to come out to Ontario because I've been wanting him to come out, now that he has that free time.
No, he's already traveling to Washington like this last weekend. It was like a last-minute thing almost because they couldn't plan anything really far in advance, except for like a couple things a year, like there were in Hollywood specifically, because he had to be up at like 4 a.m.
Ridiculous amount of hours.
Doing a radio show. And so they always had to work around that schedule. And I guarantee you he's probably going to make more money doing live shows than he is, but again, it's not regular, and you don't always know the amount of money you're going to be making.
And doing something he loves, because honestly, I've heard K-Rock, I've heard morning shows with him, and they abuse the hell out of Ralph, to be honest with you. Even Kevin and Bean show, even though it's those two together, technically, they're not in the same room. If you listen to the podcast on it, actually being somewhere like in the East Coast somewhere. Yeah, and it's pretty much kind of like Skyped radio, if you will.
Which is fine. I mean, we can do that. We were planning to do that with your friend Matt at some point, and we just haven't got the arrangements.
We'll get the details eventually on that.
We send him a link.
But even Kevin and Bean, if you ever seen a picture of them, those guys look like fossils. Those are like so old. I'm surprised they didn't get the can.
They have a great face for radio.
Great face for radio. I'm surprised they haven't been replaced, because even listening to other radio shows here and there's almost every current disc jockey is no longer in their original radio station that they came from.
Well, I mean, that is part of the business. I don't think anybody disputes K-Rock's right to hire or fire or not renew contracts for anybody whatsoever. It's just that the way they did it is kind of a dick move. And Danny Martinez in the chat room says, "Damn that K-Rock." So
they did him bad, man.
We totally agree with you, man.
If anything, hopefully, once again, bigger, better things.
Oh, look, people said stuff. We just missed it.
We just scrolled way too far down.
Sorry, man.
But anyway, so more bigger, better things for Ralph. If anything, even like their other characters, obviously they wind up working for other radio stations. Ronnie on the Rock has his own little a Sirius FM. I would love to see that for Ralph. Ralph to have his own like channel, his own station.
It's just a matter of like getting sponsors and things like that. That's not, and radio as a medium is very limited in the modern age of like podcasting and Patreon. I'm like, radio is probably not the direction for him to go anyways if he wants a long-lasting career, like doing podcasts and having supporters who just give you money like on Patreon, or just the live shows. They make a good amount of money. I mean, like multiple thousands of dollars per show. Otherwise it wouldn't be worth their time. And so if he can do more of those, he'll make good money. I mean, it's not a loss for him potentially.
No, hopefully it'll spring out of it, because like not just him, but a bunch of other but it's former K-Rock employees have gone to bigger, better things,
and that's fine. That's like, so we all hope that he does well. It's just like, it is a potential loss, and it always sucks to get fired, especially after you work for a company for like 20 years. You expect a little bit of loyalty, and you shouldn't, because they're a business, and I get that. But we'll always support the show and their podcast because they helped get us started. Basically, they're a very direct inspiration to like us at this point. No, that's fine. It's actually still playing.
Okay, I was wondering.
That happened to me before when I was doing a lot of live broadcasts.
But anyway, I can't wait to bigger, better things for him. Of course,
we'll go watch another live show. We'll help support them.
Oh yeah, buy a shirt. Check out his his page. Buy tickets, even if you can't go. Oh
yeah, we're supposed to go to something this week. I think this month.
This week.
Yeah, my wife.
You got tickets set.
My wife and I are supposed to go to like.
It's the
JC Music thing. Yeah, just Bob Goodold.
Yeah,
I don't, because he wasn't available. So
yeah, but if he makes it, if he could come out to Ontario, I am definitely buying tickets for Babylon.
See, there you go, folks. That's how you support him. Give them money. Okay, last news story.
All right, Jim Nabors, best known as Gomer Pyle from the Andy Griffith Show, has passed away at the age of 87. The actor's best known character, Gomer Pyle, has made his appearance in 1962 and not only made appearances in other TV shows like I Love Lucy, but even got his own TV show in 1964 called Gomer Pyle, USMC.
So there you go. So he had a very long-lasting career. He was doing stuff before the Andy Griffith Show as a comedian, as an actor, as a singer. And, you know, after the Andy Griffith Show, he probably did a lot of talk shows, and that's probably what he's known for a lot, in addition to doing guest spots on a bunch of different shows. But he was a very well-known household name for a very long time, and it's always sad to see such a nice character actor go and pass. But he lived until 87, so that's a pretty good life.
His character has been used in a lot of other movies and franchises. One of the greatest ones, of course, is a Full Metal Jacket, where the whole concept of being a Marine, they thought he was the joke. Like Gomer Pyle, especially with his country boy accent and his great lines of just saying Shazam, Shazam, Shazam. It was always awesome to hear because it was always odd voices. His English voice that you could always distinguish, like, it's him, it's Jim Nabors. You don't hear anybody else with that kind of voice. And what's a little secret that talent been? He has an crazy, incredible singing voice.
See, yep.
He sings like pretty much almost like an operatic kind of voice. Just nice tones. Oh, like I think he actually put out a couple albums too.
Yeah, he's a lot of actors did at that time. Like they were well known for having multiple talents.
Got to spin those plates, man.
Yeah, got multiple income streams. That's what we are recognizing. Like, yeah, maybe not one can do it all for you, but multiple little things help pay the bills.
But he's great. I wondered if they're going to do any kind of tribute shows or whatnot to him, but I think always been a good creator.
He's definitely like an older person's favorite actor. Like the fact that we even know who he is like, oh, that's a testament to his character.
Of that era, that genre, but he's very like pop culture in his own way.
Yeah, but not for anybody under 20 years old.
No. Yeah, millennials have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah, so it's very much like like we're probably the bottom of that particular group of people who recognize who he is at all. But anyways, wish him peace at last, I guess. Okay.
Rest in peace, Gomer Pyle.
On to movie trailer showdowns. We have a ton of movies because we weren't here last week. So we have quite a build up here. We have the Mary and the Witch's Flower, Altered Carbon teaser trailer, which is pretty awesome to me. The Avengers Infinity War. That movie trailer came out. Attila Battle Angel, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and also Ready Player One just had a new trailer drop today, so we're adding this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movie trailers. Have you seen them all?
Yes.
You have seen them all?
I've actually seen all of them.
Including the Ready Player One, the one that came out today?
Well, that one just came out today because that one I saw the ones that you just posted, but from all the previous ones, loved them all. Of course, I'm a big fan of the Avengers Infinity War. The whole build-up for it even kind of gives you a little bit of a hint of Black Panther. So
they do spoil that a little bit in the fact that he shows up there.
Yeah, but the biggest one that kind of caught me by surprise is Alita Battle Angel. That one, I couldn't tell for a second if it was like, am I looking at CG or is that a live actor? Because the person kind of...
Wait, are you telling me you couldn't tell if that was like a real person or not?
Well, it was too cartoony because obviously
look at those eyes.
The eyes was the giveaway. But I just wasn't sure it was, how especially with CG and slash makeup has evolved.
No, they're definitely trying to like mix them up, but it's like they're really going for that anime look with this particular character, and like that's definitely a direction choice.
Yeah, because obviously, other than the eyes, for the face wise, that looks all like a real person. So if anything, when they probably did working on the CG part, they probably just made her wear like kind of semi-green face paint or so they could.
That could be the case, absolutely. But a lot of it is live action. You're absolutely correct. So I think it's a really good mix. I like this kind of sci-fi in that they're testing water. There's doing practical and also CGI effects. It's definitely my kind of sci-fi.
And it's Robert Rodriguez, which I love his work.
You sure it's not Quentin Tarantino?
Well, unless it's one of those partner ones.
So it is. Yeah. So there you go. I'm just teasing you. But yeah, so that's definitely a good one. So out of all these, which one would you have picked?
Avengers for sure.
Avengers, okay. So
but
Avengers
Alita Battle Angel did get my attention.
Yeah, the Avengers one is actually pretty cool. It feels like a super short trailer, but it's the regular time frame. It's just that you get your first look at Thanos beating up some folks, and I think that's pretty badass for everybody. In addition to the combination of characters in the same scenes. I'm like, the Scarlet Witch and her boyfriend, who is a robot. Yeah. So, I mean, we're watching it live now, folks, who are on just the audio podcast, and we're scene by scene. We see like the Black Widow and like a almost platinum blonde kind of look. You know, she's going back with, she's looking at Bruce Banner. There's still so many great characters there. Just skipping ahead through it to get everybody. Spider-Man, the Avengers, the magical fantasy team, Black Panther, Captain America comes back. Yep. You see Thanos just kicking butt left and right. So just a ton of great scenes there, including and One Night Thor. That was always fun. Okay. But for me, I'm probably going to have to go with Mary and the Witch's Flower. I mean, I love Ready Player One. It doesn't show like a ton of new stuff, but it does show some of the VR things in here in like that particular movie of like people inside of the game and some of the things they plan to show there. Let's see. Yeah. So that's his character. All the stuff is all the really good stuff, all the CGI stuff, all that's supposed to be happening in that VR game. So all that's not there, but it's for some reason, Mary and the Witch's Flower was definitely a better trailer for me. It was just super fancy, super funny. Studio Gilby, a girl and her witch powers, magical academy stuff. I'm like, oh, that seems like a kind of movie you could take your kid to and have them enjoy it.
There's just some scenes that honestly, they're just beautifully done with the effects and all that. It did get my attention. Don't get me wrong, that one did get my attention, but I was waiting for more on it.
No, this one's definitely for me. Like the reason I picked it because it's different. Like I've seen Ready Player One trailer before, so I wasn't like super amazed. Jurassic World, really good trailer. It's just that I've seen dinosaurs before.
Yeah.
Battle Angel, I'm like interesting, but you know, the anime is probably better. I've seen it already. Avengers Infinity War, I've seen all these characters. I mean, it's cool to see Thanos beat up some people. Altered Carbon was actually pretty decent for me. Have you ever like seen that book before? Like,
I haven't.
What did you think of that particular trailer?
It was a weird take, because especially with the other futuristic, quote unquote, sci-fi movies, makes me wonder, like, oh, you know, it kind of gave me a little bit of a Blade Runner kind of feel for it, but the whole concept of it is mind transferring to other bodies. I can't think of that one other movie that did the same kind of concept.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. As far as like the visual tone that they decided to take for this particular movie is very reminiscent of Blade Runner, but that's as far as the connection goes. This one is basically you have clone bodies or even just like alternate bodies that are specially made, and if you're rich enough, or if you get the life insurance policy, you can kind of live forever in this world, and that this concept spans galaxies. So it's actually cheaper. I think I'm going by the novel version to actually just send your mind to another body in another part of the galaxy. Instead of space travel, they'll just send your mind as data, and so it'll like jump into like this random sleeve or one that you're renting while you do some work there. And so it's a different take on sci-fi, especially because these bodies are, you know, you don't care as much if they go in, and there are also different interpretations, like, oh, you might go into a body that's a smoker, and so all of a sudden you have cravings for cigarettes, or a drug addict, or the opposite, like you might have a mental addiction to smoking, but this body can't handle it, and so you can't smoke anymore. Or, you know, if you're super rich, you can buy the really good body and look like super fit and young every single time, and you might just voluntarily jump into a new body every 10 years so that you always look young and immortal. And so that's part of the themes of this movie as well. The main thing is it's a detective movie. So I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoy the novels. There's a whole like series of Altered Carbon novels. But again, I read it. And so Mary's and the Witch's Flower was the only one that was like new for me. So that's my pick. Your pick is Avengers. Yeah. So Edgar gets Avengers. I get Mary and the Witch's Flower. Things we're looking forward to. And that's kind of it for the show, folks. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Remember, if you want to help support the podcast in any way, shape, or form, you can find all the ways to do so at geekbytespodcast.com/support. There you go, folks. That's it for the show. Thanks to everyone in the live chat room who was watching and listening. Thanks for hanging out, making comments. We appreciate you joining us in the conversation. It's always fun for us. But again, thank you for listening and watching. For Geek Bytes Podcast, I am Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgardo Acosta.
Remember, folks, to go geek out about something.